I paid £120 for 3 faulty Xbox One S games consoles. All of them have various different issues and it's my job to see if I can fix them and sell them for a profit. Let's start with Xbox number one. Right, talk to me Xbox number one. How are we feeling today? Are you feeling like you want to be repaired? I hope so. The warranty sticker is still intact, which is really, really good. Looking at all of the ports as well, they seem to be absolutely fine, which is good news. But I think it's time to find out what the issue is with this one. Plug the power in. Do we get a white light when we turn on the Xbox? We do, and then it goes straight back off. Okay, so this is a beep on, beep off. This issue can vary from a number of different things, and sometimes Xboxes like this can be great for troubleshooting. You get to learn a lot about them. So let's get under the hood and see what's going on. For any of the others that have a warranty sticker on as well, I removed them with a hot air gun. I put this to about 150 degrees Celsius with an airflow speed of 99%. It should melt the adhesive underneath the sticker, allowing it to come off very easily. There we go. What do we have up here on the bottom of the cover? It looks like water damage. And this is where the sync button is at the front, which correlates to this board here. I wonder if this unit's taken water damage then. I've been lucky enough to land myself a 1TB version. This is the board from where the water damage was on the bottom of the case. And to be honest with you, it doesn't look as bad as what I thought it would. There's only a tiny little bit next to this LED here. If I switch it over to the back, you can see there's a couple of little bits, but nothing I think to worry about. However, can you spot the water damage on the board? If I go to the bottom right hand side, look at this. Water damage all around this area. From here, if we follow the board up, it goes all the way up the 12-volt power rail. Now, I don't think we have an issue with the 12-volt power rail because the console turns on and the 12 volts is what initially turns it on. But there's definitely something down here which could be causing the issue. Going over to the microscope, the area that's affected is right about here. This chip in particular looks fried. And if I was to place my bets, I would say that this is what's causing the beep on, beep off issue. We also have a few components down here. So this is a resistor, another resistor, a cap down here as well that has a lot of water damage surrounding it. The fan connector itself is fine. We have a coil here. I'm gonna guess that's fine. I'm gonna measure that in a second. You can see that we have some water damage on the 12-volt line. Also, this resistor actually doesn't look to be that great, does it, in all honesty? This is a resistor I was talking about a second ago. If you look at this as what it's meant to look like and then go down, clearly it's not looking great. Luckily, the RAM chip next to it doesn't actually look too affected, and I'm very surprised considering how bad it is around this area. I'm going to clean this up really quickly with IPA and a toothbrush because it's very obvious where we might have the fault. At least I think so anyway. This is now what it looks like after somewhat a decent clean. This cap does look a little bit charred, so we need to triple check that and make sure it's all good. It will be quite difficult to remove if that's the case because it's right next to this plastic connector. Even if we use a soldering iron, we have to be super careful. Let me get my multimeter and start testing some components. I've got the meter in diode mode currently, and we're gonna check these MOSFETs here. We should get a reading of around about 0.5 or so. Yeah, we have 0.5 here on the gate of the MOSFET, as with this one, 0.5, that's really, really good. And still in diode mode, I'm just gonna check this cap to see what reading we get. I don't know what side is ground. That is showing as ground, so I'm assuming this side isn't. Which it isn't. We got 0.5 voltage drop there as well, so that's good. Hopefully the same sort of story. 0.7 voltage drop and ground on the other side, that's good. Check the coil in continuity mode, make sure it's good. Yeah, we're okay, we're getting continuity through that coil. Again, I'm just gonna check, because that might have been a bit of a fluke. No, we're good, and it holds. That's fantastic. In continuity mode, I'm gonna check some of the caps around this chip to see if we have any shorts. Seem to be fine. We have, again, some traces that look burnt over here. I think this is the chip we're going to replace. If I now go up here and measure this resistor in resistance mode, I get 3 million ohms, which I think is about right. So if I go up to the next resistor, which also looked bad, 3 million, 2.9 million, and this top one, just to confirm, 3.1 million and 2.9 million. So I actually think resistor-wise, we are fine. Back to diode mode to check some of these MOSFETs on the gate. So we get 0.6 voltage drop here, which is exactly what we're meant to have. Same should be here. Yep, perfect. And I'm only going to check the next two. So this one 0.6 and this one 0.6. So the MOSFETs also seem to be good. I think I'll go for the straight swap of this chip just to see what happens. So let's do that right now. 450 degrees Celsius with an airflow speed of 50%. We have some aluminium caps here, so we have to be super careful. I have had one of these explode on me before. And just like that, it's off. Isopropyl alcohol now and a cotton bud just to inspect the damage that we have. This trace here looks to be fine and connected on this pad, but I'm worried about this trace because I don't know if we have a connection here. I'm just going to see if I can scrape anything away. I just scrape a little bit on here just to see if we have continuity from here to here, which I don't think we do. I'm just going to scrape it a bit more because maybe I didn't do a good enough job in the first place. Do we have continuity? No, we don't. There's no continuity from here to here, and I don't know what part this plays. So let's solder a jumper wire from here to here. Before we do that, I am gonna scrape here and here and here, because there's no point in doing one if the others don't work as well. Do we have continuity here? We do. Here? We do. And here? We do. It's just here, we don't. Let's start by putting some flux on this area here. Take some solder on the iron. Make sure it's nice and strong. Cool. Take our bit of wire. Plop it down there, take the wire and put it here. Flux needed, flux needed. There we go, nice. Cut this little wire off, if we can. Come on, there we go. Clean with IPA and a toothbrush. Now can we confirm this wire doesn't want to go anywhere? We can indeed, there we go. Now we take the multimeter again in continuity mode and we'll see if we have a connection. Which we do, lovely. Now, instead of replacing the solder around this area, we are literally just going to put some leaded on top of it and mix it with the unleaded that's already on the board. There we go, nice, okay. And again, just a little clean with IPA and a toothbrush. There we go, it's looking a lot better now. Just gonna add a tiny bit of conformal coating here, just to ensure that the wire doesn't move when I go and put the chip on. After it's been cured, it should be absolutely solid, in which case it is. Now let me just grab a replacement chip. And now we put the chip on. I completely messed up and I knocked the wire, so I need to resolder that now. There we go. Try that again. I'm actually going to try and position the chip in place this time and then come down with the hot air, which is not something I usually do, but I'm going to try it. Now I'm just going to go for the squeeze. That should be good. As you can see, it's a little bit lopsided down this side, but we should be okay. Give it a nice clean, and that looks a-okay to me. I could have also maybe soldered this on after I put the chip on, but I think we're okay. Let's give it a test. Okay, hopefully no explosions. We look really, really good. Let's see what happens when we go to turn it on. Is it on, off, or is that fixed? It's just turned on. It's staying on for a lot longer than it did. We get the fan spin, okay. Do we get anything on the screen? There's no way this has worked. There's no way this has worked. Oh my God, we get a display. Let's go. It was literally that one little chip that was causing this whole thing to not work. Amazing. For each single Xbox, I'll change out the thermal paste. I'll make sure it's had a good dusting. I'll check the hard drives, I'll check the disk drives, etc. I just don't want to bore you guys with that. So I'll let you know at the end if they all work. But for the time being, it looks like Xbox number 1 is fixed. Now we're on the dashboard as well. I think this Xbox is working. Let's move on to Xbox number 2. On the face of it, we are missing the warranty sticker on this bad boy. It is fairly dirty. I don't know if you can see because of how bright the light is, but it is quite dirty along the front faceplate. A few scratches on the bottom side, but overall, not a horrendous condition. Some dirt in the holes, as you can see on the top. Let's test this one, Xbox number 2. Tell us a story. Do you turn on? And if so, do you stay on? You do turn on, we have the white light, and it seems to stay on, that's good, okay. Let's switch over to the game scene. Do we get a display? Doesn't look like it. We don't yet have an image, and it's been probably about a minute or so. If this did turn off, I'd say it was more of a hard drive fault, but the fact it's staying on leads me to think it might be an issue with the display. It's just turned off, I don't know if you heard, but that might be a hard drive issue. So let's take it apart and see what's going on. A lot of the screws on this were actually really loose, so I'm gonna go ahead and assume it's been opened before. Oh, hold on a minute. The hard drive isn't even plugged in. Wait, what? This bit is meant to be plugged into the hard drive. It's another 1 terabyte. I'll be honest, I was thinking it was either going to be that somebody had taken out the hard drive to use it for something else and then sold the console faulty on eBay, or that the hard drive just doesn't work. That still might be the case that it doesn't work, but I'm going to plug it in and turn it on and test it again. What I will say as well is that the screws haven't been taken out from the caddy either, so everything's still intact. Okay, I've taken the caddy off. I'm just plugging the hard drive in now. I'm just going to balance it on here. I'm just plugging the power in again. Okay, let's see what happens when we turn it on now. Okay, we get a spin. The main thing is that we didn't have an image before, so do we get an image now? I'm also listening out for any like abnormal sounds from the hard drive, because sometimes that can indicate a bad hard drive as well. The caddy also only had 2 screws in. It didn't have the set of 4 that it usually comes with. Unfortunately, we still get nothing on the screen. There is a program on the PC that's called Crystal Disk Info. Now, this is the hard drive that I've plugged into my PC to see exactly what's going on with it. And as it states, caution. So basically, reallocated sectors count is yellow, and so is current pending sector count, which I have no idea what that means. But the caution would tell me that there's something wrong with it. This is going to need a new hard drive. And here we have a new 500GB hard drive. I'm going to plug this into my PC so I can quickly format it. And here we have it. It's automatically picked it up. So press OK. Unallocated. Right click. New simple volume. Next, 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 next. Finish, and there we go, all formatted. Now we safely eject it, plug it into our console. I will secure it in place later. Now we have our magical piece of software, which is called OSU 1. This is the software needed on the hard drive when you have a fresh hard drive for an Xbox that gives it the basic files it needs. Plug that into the front USB. Now we're going to press the on button, the sync button, and the eject button at the same time and wait for 3 beeps. 1, 2, my hand's cramping. There it is, 3, and release. Strangely, I'm not actually getting an image on the screen. I'm actually very confused because this console was definitely turning off after a certain amount of time, which would indicate a bad hard drive. But now I can't see anything on the screen, and I'm assuming because I've pressed those buttons, it's now updating, and I don't want to turn it off because I don't want to break the hard drive. I'm going to have to leave this for 10-15 minutes or so, and then investigate why we don't have a display. This one just got a lot more interesting. All right, let's have a look at the HDMI port. I think I found the issue. That was me being a little bit silly and just assuming that because they didn't reconnect the hard drive that it was a hard drive issue, and the fact that it turned off. Let's get this port changed. Going in with a temperature of 470 degrees Celsius and an airflow speed of 99%. Let's get some flux on. Add some solder and wick away all of this stuff. Fume extractor on. I'm going to try and use the hot air gun to assist me today with some heat to clear out the ground holes. Oh, that worked. Oh, nice. Okay. Didn't even need to use it. Nice. Okay. Wow, I haven't had to use it at all. That's amazing. Let's give it a clean. Let's get some more flux on. This is now all prepped for a port drop. There's so many different ways to skin a cat, but I'm still experimenting, to be honest, to see what the best way of doing a port swap is. But we're just going to drop the port in place and then touch up the joints if we need to. And today I'm not going to tin the port. Let's see how it goes. Add our flux. I'm going to heat from underneath the board as well. 460 degrees Celsius, airflow speed 80%. Let's check the pins. Wow, these look super clean, by the way. I'm hoping they're all solid. Solid, solid, solid. Nice. The solder didn't flow all the way through here, so I'm hoping to get most of that on the back. But if you look at this anchor, that's what it should have looked like. So maybe I just didn't add enough solder to this ground plane here. But that is wicked. Let me just sort these blobs out on the back. Right, let's turn the Xbox on. There we go, it's just turned on. It took a while to turn on, but it's on. If this doesn't work, then I'm going to put it down to the retimer and we're going to have to change that. That's going to make our profit margin even less. It's been a minute or two and I still have nothing on the screen. Let's change out the retimer chip. All right, let's take you off. Apply some flux and leaded solder. Make sure there's enough solder on the pads, which there is. New retimer chip. Hold down in place. Nice. Now I'm just going around and ensuring that the edges have a good connection. Just checking our work quickly, how we looking. Yeah, we're looking good. Small solder blob down there at the bottom, but it's not joined to anything, so we should be okay. All right, I've just turned the Xbox on. It turns on again, which is always good news. Do we get an image? We still don't get an image. I'm gonna recheck the retimer. I'm just gonna go for a reflow, and I'm also gonna add some more solder here. I'll save you the hassle. I've already tested it and it's not working. In diode mode, I've also tested every single pin that we have on the HDMI port, and they're all coming back with what they should. Specifically this one at 0.6 and this one also at 0.6. And all the data lines come back absolutely fine. Just for curiosity, that's flux. I have tested as well in diode mode all of the components around the ESD filter, and they are coming back no issues whatsoever. And finally, I've tested every single pad around the TDP158 retimer chip, and all the readings also come back fine. I have no idea why this isn't working. The only thing that's going through my head is maybe a faulty retimer chip, so I guess I could try another one. Let's properly check our work this time. All good that side, all good that side, all good that side, all good that side. Nice. And the dot is where the dot should be. All right, I've just turned it on again. I don't actually have that much faith. Do we get anything on the screen? We still get nothing on the screen. Back to the drawing board. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. I took a break, I had a sleep, and now we're back at it. I'm gonna try and change the ESD filter. This is the ESD filter we're gonna change. The reason I'm changing it is, I know I said that I get all the correct readings around it. However, when the console is on, I only get like 80 millivolts on each of these pins, and I'm pretty sure pin 19 and 18 are supposed to have 5 volts supplied to them. So I'm actually going to change this out and see if that works. If not, I have no idea what to do next. Interestingly, this is already pre-balled, so it's got all of the little solder balls on the bottom as standard. So we remove this one, clear the pads, and then put the other one on. A very small chip. Gonna add some flux here. Now we just take a little bit of wick and just be very, very careful with it. Dab what we can, there we go. Clean with IPA, see where we're at. Clean it up some more. There we go, I think we're good. Now we take the pre-balled chip. We literally put a very, very tiny bit of flux just there. Now we just want to place this in the correct position. Flux should cause it to stick a little bit. There is good. I think we're okay. Now we're gonna go 450 degrees Celsius with an airflow speed of 10% on this and just work it very, very slowly. Then we're gonna add some more flux and give it a bit more of a reflow. Come off of it. Just gonna give it a tap and see if it moves or not. Which it doesn't, so the solder is clearly stuck to something, which is good. And now we add flux, and now we're gonna go 20%. I'm also just gonna tap the chip very slowly. There we go. Make sure it's got the connections it needs. There we go. And come off. And again, I shouldn't be able to move it, which I can't. Isopropyl alcohol, toothbrush, and let's give it a test. Okay, Mr. ESD filter, were you the culprit? Let's find out. Power on. Again, not getting hopes up at all. Switch over to the game scene. Do we get an image? We get fan spin. Do we get anything displayed on the screen? It needs to be like now. There we go. Okay, black screen. Again, not getting hopes up. I need to see something. It's really good as well because if this works, all those retimer chips I tried, I can reuse them. So I've not spent any extra money on those. There we go. Okay, we have a spinning circle. I think that means we're good. I just want to see one more thing. Okay, we are in like 480p. Let's put it to 1080 and does it work? If it does, happy days. It's going to reset and hopefully turn back on. Yes, let's go, man. Come on. Okay, it's gone again. There we go. Okay, wicked. No black spots, no flickers, no nothing like that. Thank God. My mistake was not checking to see if I had 5 volts on pin 18 and 19 at the start. I tested them in diode mode and they were coming back fine. If I had spotted that sooner, this could have all been avoided, but nevertheless, it was good practice. We can call that one fixed. Let's move on. Xbox number 3. Big bit of dirt right here. I wonder if just by applying some isopropyl alcohol and giving it a scrub, if it'll come off. Would you look at that? It does. The power of IPA. So other than that big mark, this one's actually looking good. We have the warranty sticker intact, which is, again, very good. Let's see what the situation is with this one. Let's give it some power. Here we go. Does it turn on? Yes, it does. We get the white light. What happens with that white light? Does it stay on? Any disc? No disc. Power's on though, that's really good. Do we get any display on the screen? It doesn't look like we get anything on the screen. Now, will this one turn off after a minute or so? Just for reference, the Xbox is still on and it's been probably about 2 minutes, so we just have no display whatsoever in OBS. Let's turn it off, take it apart and see what's going on. I forgot to mention actually that the HDMI port, which is this one here, looks to be okay. I've just gone ahead and started taking it apart without checking the HDMI port. We got another 1 terabyte. Wow, 3 out of 3 1 terabytes. I feel like a lucky man. This one looks in really, really good, clean condition, which makes me wonder why it doesn't work. I'm going to do exactly what we did before. I'm going to take the hard drive that I've just taken out of this Xbox One. I'm going to plug it into my PC. I'm just going to double check that the hard drive is okay. Then it rules that out. Okay, so this number 7 is the drive that I've just taken out of the Xbox, and as you can see, it's appearing as good. So I think I can rule out the hard drive being an issue. It's been turned on 25,000 times and has 918 hours of being powered on. With that being said, let's go back to the board and see if we can see anything which might be causing this Xbox to not display an image. Now, if somebody said to me, Joe, you've got one guess at this board to see why it's not displaying, without looking at anything on the board in too much depth, I would think it's going to be the retimer chip if the HDMI port is okay. Let's go to the scope and check the HDMI port firstly. Okay, so HDMI port, show me what you're working with. How are you looking? You look absolutely beautiful. I was looking at the wrong one. This is the one that I'm meant to be looking at. However, I would say that its brother or sister is also looking amazing. That looks fine. No issues from what I can see. Let's zoom in and check the pins on the port. I will give them a nudge test just to make sure. No loose pins whatsoever. What I said to you before about the retimer chip is this chip here. This might be TDP159, I believe. Yeah, TDP159. The replacement chips I have are called TDP158. The TDP158 chip works on this board and the newer series Xbox One X, not the Series X. Just a normal X. So I think my first point of call is going to be to replace this chip and see if that fixes our display issue. Temperature to get this off the board is going to be a full 470 degrees Celsius with an airflow speed of 99%. And I'm going to put the fan on, add some flux, and here we go. Rotate the board, make my life easier. Spread the flux around, and here we go. Clean the area whilst it's still hot. No IPA just yet. Now we come in with the IPA when the board's a little bit cooler, just to clear that remaining flux. Lovely, jobly. Now we take some more flux and we've reapplied, because what we're going to do is put some leaded solder in the mix with this unleaded solder to lower down the melting temperature again. The tip that I used for that wasn't that great, if I'm being honest. And now we have our new chip, the TDP158, and what we're going to do is turn it around to make sure that this little circle dot here is in line with this dot on the board. Perfect, but it's not going to sit flat because we have solder. So we go 450 degrees now, airflow speed 50%. Might be too much solder in the middle, but we'll soon find out. Solder's now wet. Put the chip on. So a lot of solder here. Whoa, the blob's gone flying. Okay, that's fine. Move this little blob away. Thank you. And we go back in and push down. Perfect. And now we smooth out the edges. We get some more flux and we go around the chip with the iron. I've now also swapped tips to make this easier. 10 times easier. And I'm rotating the board to make my life easy. Now a good clean with IPA and a toothbrush. Okay, let's have a look and check our work. Looks okay. This side looks okay. This side, hunky-dory. All good that side as well. Nice replacement. Let's put it back together and see if it works. If we get this one working, it'll be the first time in Joy Does Tech history I've managed to fix 3 out of 3 consoles. I don't want to jinx anything though. Let's see if it powers on, first of all, because that's always a good sign that things have gone okay when it comes to soldering. It does turn on. Do we get anything on the screen? Was it a faulty retimer chip? Yes, there we go. Okay, sick. Nice one. It's on, it's working. It was just a gut feeling it was gonna... Where's it gone? Oh, okay, it's back. It's gone. It's back. It's gone. I think that's either a bad retimer or my soldering job is bad. And I feel like it's the latter. So I feel like my soldering, it's just gone again. I feel like my soldering is bad. There might have been a bridge in between 2 pins, so I'm gonna check that now. Okay, I'll tell you what, let's hit it with a reflow with a little bit of flux and tidy up the joints again and see if that works. If not, I'll change out the retimer. Again, push down, heat on. Just checking our work. Yep, 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 yep. Good. Definitely feel as if though that was a better soldering job. So now the test, was it my soldering or was it the chip? Again, turn the console on. It turns on, good. Do we have that same flicker? So we're looking for an image, which would be good. Okay, we have the image. No flicker so far. solid image. Let's wiggle the cable. Okay, good. I think there may have been a bridge on 2 of the pins around the TDP chip, and I'll show that on screen now. I think that might have been what the issue was. I'm on the dashboard now, and I just want to check and make sure that we do have 1080p, etc, etc. There we go, 1080p, 1440p. Mwah. We put it into 1080, and there we go. Just like that, we are good. And we have fixed 3 Xboxes out of 3. I can also confirm that the Bluetooth, Wi-Fi and disk drive are working on all 3 of the consoles. Both of the 1TB Xboxes will go for lowest £70. The 500 gig will most probably go for about 60, giving us a grand total of about £200. This leaves us with a profit of £80. However, if I deduct the 500 gig hard drive that I bought, the TDP chip and the eBay fees, Editing Joey also says about minus £10 for the ESD filter, leaving our total profit to around about £25, roughly. If you enjoy this type of video, please join me over here where we try and fix some more Xbox One consoles. Peace.